Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Take two. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're here to talk to you about pain in the neck. Yes, many people in your life can be pains in the neck. Your job can be a pain in the neck, but some people have unexplainable pains in the neck. And many of you probably have dealt with this for years. Maybe it's gone on for most of your life. We have one client in particular that we're going to talk about tonight as an example for all of you that has dealt with this her entire life practically. Body pain, specifically to the neck. And when people come to us with this type of description of a symptom of discomfort they want to take care of, it's almost always a gateway into something deeper. It's really ever just that pain. That pain is a portal into other things that have led up to that presentation. So in her life, it has been a life that has been full of suicidal and depressive type thought and tendencies in her state of being. Never carrying it out, of course. Obviously, she's here. But the feeling of just feeling that weight pulling on her all the time. And a lot of hormonal stuff going on. A lot of other things that in Chinese medicine we would link together and say, oh, it's a lot of liver and gallbladder. And just the other day when I was treating her, I noticed that when I asked her body what the focal point was, it took me to her heart. And you're thinking, well, my gosh, what has that got to do with neck pain, chronic neck and back pain? To the point that she's told me, I've had it so long, I have no reserves to deal with it anymore, and I just don't know if I can go on with it anymore. And then, if you think of it that way, you can also feel then how the heart might connect, because she's heart weary. So we want to go deeper into this. We want to look at, yes, of course, that there's a large intestine channel that runs up like this, bilaterally on, both sides of the body. There's the liver channel that runs up the foot and goes up the leg in to the neck and can cause that kind of pain. There's the gallbladder channel, which runs on the outside all through here. Let me go this angle here. All up into the neck and can cause a lot of that. But those are just descriptions, again, of organ systems through a Chinese lens and their dysfunction. We want to know, though, what's deeper. We could treat superficially, but wouldn't you all want to know what's the deeper reason you've had such chronic pain, especially if you've been to doctors and they've done scans and they've done, all the diagnostic tools they have at their disposal to figure out what's wrong with you, and they really don't come up with anything definitive. So let's go deeper and talk about what can cause that type of pain by using this particular client as an example. You've had a chance to feel into her. What did you notice feeling into this client?
Well, the first thing that we feel is anger and heartbreak. So, and what we notice is that those two things usually ping pong off of each other. So when someone feels heartbroken, anger often follows because they're upset or angry that they feel heartbroken. Because your emotional system is a navigational system that is constantly trying to help you correct yourself into a state of harmony. So if you're experiencing heartbreak and then you experience anger because of the heartbreak, the anger is basically saying, this isn't supposed to be like this. I don't want this to be like this. This needs addressed. So the problem, though, is that often those two things will sit there and just ping pong back and forth because that's also connected to the mental field. And so whatever those thoughts are that are connected to the heartbreak, that then are connected to the anger, just end up going in loops.
Can I mention one thing real fast before you go further with that, just to talk about the anger part of it?
Mm-hmm.
The liver channel and the gallbladder, both, because they're siblings in the world of Chinese medicine, the anger is one of the emotions that the liver hangs on to. It tends to kind of camp out there if you don't process through it. And that can create heat, and that heat then can travel upwards, because that's what heat does, it goes up. And it can get trapped in the shoulder, in the neck, in the head. A lot of migraine pain comes from a lot of gallbladder and liver type stuff. So it's this emotional churning, this grinding of the gears in there that creates the heat that can rise up and create the inflammation. Just want to throw that out there to make the connection between the emotion of anger and liver and gallbladder. Back to you.
Well, we're all about problem solving. So if you notice that you're stuck in a cycle of heartbreak, anger, heartbreak, anger, heartbreak, anger, the question that you need to ask yourself is there any way for me to personally solve this or bring closure to this heartbreak? So one of the issues that we see all the time is that it seems like the heartbreak is not within your ability to control. So, for example, with forgiveness, it often feels like forgiveness is reliant, like someone's ability to forgive is reliant upon somebody else's ability to come forth and say, I'm sorry, or admit that some type of wrong occurred. So if someone is not able to receive that, if the person the individual who's heartbroken feels hurt by, does not see anything wrong with what they've done, or just refuses to apologize, then that's a very good example of someone getting stuck in that loop and going, I don't have any control over being able to forgive this person, and I don't have any control over not being angry, because every time I think about how heartbroken I am, I get pissed off because that person should say I'm sorry, and then I won't be in any more pain. So this brings us to the ability to interact with your mindset with a great deal of determination. Because if one positions themselves in life to always be at the mercy of whoever is doing the hurting, this cycle of heartbreak and anger is going to continue over and over and over again. So a lot of what we teach includes the teaching of how to create strong boundaries and understand what boundaries are. And the reason that's important is because when we call it the layers of intimacy, and we get our clients and our students to actually work on their layers of intimacy, no less than 5. Meaning, first layer of intimacy, the very closest, the ones you trust the very most, the ones that, they've got your back, just in every way you can be vulnerable, and so forth as it goes out. Some of our students and clients will take that all the way out to 10 layers. That's completely dependent upon the individual. Point is that what happens is you guys will often allow people into that first layer of intimacy when they don't deserve to be there. They've not given any evidence that they should be there. In fact, often they've given evidence that they shouldn't be there. And so this cycle of hurt happens over and over and over again, reinforcing the pattern of being a victim within that dynamic and being unable to forgive. So one of the things that we feel is the most important is to learn how to watch people's behaviors and stop listening so intently to the words. Watch the behaviors. Do the words match the behaviors? If not, stop listening to the words at all. Only pay attention to the behaviors. Because when you allow yourselves to really pay attention to behaviors, then you know pretty clearly who does and does not deserve to be in that first layer of intimacy. And what happens is you create a mindset then that goes, well, I don't really expect that much from this person because they're not in my first layer of intimacy. And my expectations for my first layer of intimacy are very high. But this person's in my 4th layer. So my expectations for people in my 4th layer of intimacy, very low. So what happens naturally from that mindset and from that thought organization and emotion organization and boundary organization is you don't make decisions that put too much of your well-being in somebody else's hands that can't care for it properly. So at that point, when someone can learn to do that, then they're really just playing cleanup with whatever happened in their early years. And of course, as children, everyone's on that first layer of intimacy. And, especially parents, because they're your parents.
Well,
and that's where a lot of the pain comes from in the first place.
I felt that in her timeline. I was treating her the other day. I could feel in those first 5-6 years of her life, there was so much of this pattern. It felt like to me it was being laid down then. And she's in her early 50s now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, this has been going on. No wonder she said, I felt like this way my whole life. She said, I feel like I've been in a state of fight or flight as long as I can remember.
And so what happens when someone is able to create those layers in that way? It actually starts to work on the person's history, because in their mind they start realizing, whoa, I was actually holding expectations for this individual that they had no capability of fulfilling. And so your ability to forgive those people starts to really increase, because you realize your part in it, which was, I expected that which could not be given. And so that is a very healing component. And for this individual, for this talk, that's the gist of what we've got to say on that.
Well, good. Yeah, for years I've treated clients that come in typically in the beginning for some type of physical ailment. And it's rare outside of a car accident or something like that it doesn't end up taking you through a portal, a doorway into something much deeper to do with their emotions. I talked to her the other day about her. I said, your mental field is so full. She goes, oh, yeah. And she said, I just have a hard time dealing with that, not getting focused and then going down the negative rabbit hole, leading her into more and more of upheaval because of where her mind goes. Mm-hmm. So could you say a quick word, just a very quick word on mental focus and how to have a disciplined mind where you don't get caught up in that cycle? You're like, really quick.
Well, there are different techniques. Of course, we create meditations that help someone get into that state very easily, and those are available on the website.
Yeah. You
can learn different techniques of meditation. You can learn different forms of Qigong. Of course, we recommend Pangu Shenggong to help someone get in a calm place while absorbing a lot of very valuable energy from the universe. And our Qigong form, 8 Fields Qigong, is also really good at that. Walking in nature, just being able to allow yourself to focus on the beauty and to focus on problem solving. So if we never tell anyone to not focus on a problem, because that's completely against your nature. You should focus on problems, but you should focus on them to solve them, not to create loops. So everyone has to learn how to find the things that help them get into a calm space, no matter what that is. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's listening to instrumental music while drawing. Maybe, do you see what we're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep, good. Well, thanks for watching, and we will be doing one of these very, very soon. And if you have questions for us, you can always feel free to reach out to us through social media and through our email address as well. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.